Title: Girlfriend wanted an open relationship but changed her tune when I kicked her out of the house. I met my girlfriend in March 2018. She was 24 and I was 27 years old. Interestingly enough, we met at my favorite restaurant where she was working as a waitress. I thought she was cute, so I started tipping her enough to get her attention. We exchanged numbers, and when we got talking I found out that we had a lot in common. I was pleasantly surprised to discover that she was a gamer like me, and she had 2 adorable dogs. I love animals, and we vibed really well. Not long after, she started coming to my place often to play video games and hang out. We eventually started a romantic relationship, and her sex drive was amazing. Our relationship was going strong until August, when I decided to ask her to move in with me. She was at my house all the time, and some of her belongings were taking over my closet and personal space. Her toothbrush and makeup were on my bathroom cabinet, and her dogs were always in my backyard, which they loved. So, I thought it was time to make her move official. She was living with her parents, who were tired of cleaning up after her pets. Plus, she hated living with them, and she wouldn't have to pay rent if she lived with me. Early in our relationship, her libido was off the charts. At least she made me believe it was. She was the one initiating sex most of the time, which was something I didn't experience in my previous relationships. We were going at it like bunnies at least once a day. Everything seemed great. I was with the hottest girl I had ever been with, and we were having amazing sex every day. What else could a guy ask for? What else could a guy want? What else could go wrong? I didn't ask her to pay rent, because I didn't mind being the sole breadwinner. But after she moved in, I soon realized what a huge mistake it was. She didn't clean up after herself, and she just played video games all night. She wouldn't even come to bed early. She didn't even walk her dogs. I had to do it for her, and clean up their poop in my backyard. It was cute at first because I would play video games with her, and I like living in a clean house, so I would clean up after her and her dogs. But then it became the norm. I would ask her to clean up after herself and do laundry, but she would only do it for a while and then stop. I had to constantly remind her. I got tired of reminding her and ended up doing all the chores around the house. She didn't pay rent, didn't clean, didn't cook, and always wanted to eat out. I tolerated it because she was hot. We got along, and I thought it was about time I settled down, since I work 60 hours and 6 days a week. I don't have time to go out to clubs or bars, and dating sites are atrocious because I don't have time to date and find the right person. Most women want to be taken out, which is time-consuming for me. I work in construction, so it's difficult to meet women. Despite her flaws, I settled for her and thought I could handle it. However, towards the end of 2018, our sex life slowly decreased from once a day to once a week. I was always the one initiating, and her excuse was always that she was tired from her stressful job at the restaurant. I would remind her that my job requires me to be on my feet all day, yet I still come home and take care of household chores and our dogs. Despite this, she still complains about being tired. In December 2018, I started to seriously reconsider our relationship as I felt we were growing distant. However, my perspective changed when I brought her to a Christmas dinner with my family and friends. She was the star of the show and everyone loved her. Some of my friends even asked me how I managed to score such a hot girl, which boosted my ego and reputation. I was convinced that she was the woman I would end up with, despite her flaws. Fast forward to early 2019, when COVID hit and she lost her job. I was still employed, so it didn't make a difference. Initially, I was happy because I thought she would no longer have the excuse of being tired for sex, or helping around the house. However, she became even lazier. All she did was play video games and ask me for money to order food. When I refused and told her to cook in the kitchen, she accused me of not being supportive. I have male video game friends that we both play with, and she would often tell them about our relationship. She would also tell me that her online video game friends care more about her than I do. I would respond by saying that if they care so much, they should send her money for rent and food. This would often lead to her going crazy and accusing me of being emotionally abusive. I would usually let her win the argument because I am not confrontational, but sometimes I would be pushed to the edge. During the lockdown, I was the one doing all the cooking while she was home all day. It became a normal routine for me to work, cook, clean, and walk the dogs, while she contributed nothing to my life. I started to consider the option of not having her in my life, but the only pro I could think of was that we get along well and I have someone to talk to when I come back from work. As a man, it can be lonely sometimes, and she is fun to talk to. One day during the COVID lockdown, I came back from work and made dinner. We sat at the dining table to eat the meal I had cooked, and halfway through, she shocked me by saying she wanted to open the relationship. I was taken aback and almost choked on my food. I told her that I would never agree to that, and that it's not the type of relationship I want. She responded that she has been depressed for a while, and she is not happy, and she blamed me for not noticing that she is not happy. She claims that she even thought about deleting herself. And I responded by asking her how sleeping with other men is going to prevent her from deleting herself. She told me she decided she was polyamorous and wanted to explore that side of her. She tried to frame it like it was not just her trying to sleep with other men. She told me that her video game friend and others agreed with her and have been telling her for months that she deserves better, and she realized that was what was missing in her life. She then began trying to convince me that polyamory is some kind of new age enlightenment, and she is raising her vibration by sleeping with other guys, and me not being jealous, and I should raise my vibration by accepting her choices. She had this all planned out like she thought it through. She has been unemployed since COVID. She doesn't pay rent. She doesn't cook or clean or walk her own damn dogs. I work more than 60 hours a week to support her ungrateful ass so she can sit at home and do nothing but play video games and flirt with people who apparently agree I'm not enough for her. She doesn't do anything for the 2 dogs brought into the relationship. She doesn't do anything for me, except for small conversations and unenthusiastic sex every once in a while, and the worst part is that she wasn't even asking me. It wasn't like a question. She just said that she now wanted to open the relationship and acted like I was just gonna have to deal with it. Like I have no say or choice in the matter. If anything, that selfish woman is the reason our relationship has been sexless and affectionless for some time. She even tried to shame and guilt me when I told her that I'm not going for that. She called me unspiritual and unenlightened to the 21st century. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was like one of those mind games from a charismatic Pentecostal preacher. She tried to tell me that no one man can fulfill everything she needs. Think of it like a password. You're only one piece that fits to my whole, and that I need to stop taking it personally. I told her that I take it personally because we are in a relationship. I seriously thought she had been brainwashed. I felt like I had enough of this nonsense. I stood up and went to the other side of the table where she was eating, and grabbed the plate of food that she was eating with, and threw it in the sink. I told her to pack her things and grab her damn dogs and get the hell out of my house in 10 minutes. Funny enough how her enlightened attitude changed when she realized that I was serious and she was about to be homeless. I told her to go complete her password somewhere else because I had enough of her shit. Her shaming quickly turned to apologizing and begging me to stay with her, but it was already too late. I had enough. The devil part of me took over. I guess the devil part of me couldn't stand how my softer side has gotten. I just realized how I have allowed this manipulative woman to control me. Manipulative woman tried to wiggle her lazy self into my life and turn me into a money-providing house slave cuck. I threw all her belongings out of my house that night, including her dogs. She refused to leave and even fought me. The neighbors called the police and they arrived. She accused me of kicking her out of our home, but I explained that she was trespassing since her name was not on my mortgage and we were not married. She cried even more when I told her she couldn't take the computer I had bought for her, which she was using to badmouth me to other men and claim I didn't deserve her. While the police were present, she called her parents and they helped her gather her things. I knew she hated them, so I knew she was living in misery. Ever since I kicked her out, she has made it her mission to contact everyone I know and spread lies about me, including saying I am gay, ugly, physically and emotionally abusive, and that I even abused her dogs. She has thrown everything at me to try and destroy my reputation. I have blocked her on social media, and any friends who didn't know the full story and tried to blame me, I have also blocked because I refused to air my dirty laundry in public. Title: Girlfriend demanded open relationship when I got cancer and couldn't be as active in bed. Not sure what I'm looking for by sharing this, but here it is. My girlfriend, 29, and I, 31, have been in a relationship for 5 years. We met at a friend's party and hit it off immediately. I love her deeply, and until a year ago we were saving for our marriage. However, everything changed when I went for a checkup and was diagnosed with cancer. I don't want to go into details, but I went home and told my girlfriend, and we were both devastated. I started treatment right away, which took a toll on our relationship. A few months into treatment, I was making good progress, and my doctor told me that because we caught it early, I would beat this thing, but it would require a commitment from me. I have to mention that I became friends with an attractive nurse at the hospital, but it was strictly platonic, since we were both in relationships. The treatment and medication made me weak, and I had to cut back my hours at work. We share a mortgage, and I used to contribute more when I was working full-time, but now that I was working part-time, my girlfriend was contributing more. Before my cancer, our financial contribution was 80-20, but now it's more like 40-60, with her paying 60 and having to take on more hours. A few months into treatment, my girlfriend started acting differently towards me. I thought it was because I couldn't spend as much time with her and was always tired. So I tried my best to help out more around the house. I should be more affectionate towards her. I thought I was making progress for a while until I came home one day and saw her upset and watching TV in the living room. I greeted her, but she didn't respond. I assumed she was having one of her mood swings again. I was too tired to deal with it, so I went to clean myself up. When I returned to the living room, she was still looking sad. I went to the couch where she was sitting to comfort her and asked her what was wrong. She looked at me and said something that broke my heart. She told me she was no longer happy in our relationship. I knew I needed her now more than ever, and I told her I had been trying my best because I realized she wasn't happy. I asked her what I could do to make things better, and she suggested we open our relationship. I was shocked and told her I understood how she felt about my illness, but the doctor said I would get better soon. However, during treatment it may seem like I'm not because of the chemo and medications. She insisted on an open relationship, saying it was the only way to save our relationship. We went to bed that night without me agreeing to an open relationship. I'm not naive. I knew she must have been thinking about it for a while, and may have someone in mind. It hurt to know that the person I wanted to spend my life with was leaving me when I needed her the most. I tried to ignore the topic whenever she brought it up, hoping it would go away. In the following weeks, I buried myself in work, trying to be the man I was before cancer. But I couldn't make up for the financial contribution because I wasn't working more hours and my girlfriend had to contribute more financially. I decided to take out a loan to ease the pressure on her and get things back to where they were supposed to be. When I told her I would contribute more, she didn't ask where I got the money or seem to care. I thought the relationship was already over, so I returned the loan as it didn't serve its purpose. It never occurred to me that she had started seeing other people until she started coming home late, not picking up my calls, and no longer coming with me to the hospital. I started to feel like she was just a roommate, and I was fighting this battle alone. One day, I had a serious episode at work and had to be rushed to the hospital. My coworker reached out to her, and she showed up for the first time. I saw that she cared because she was crying and wouldn't leave my bedside. It warmed my heart to know that she still cared about me. Maybe she finally understood what it felt like to not have me around. Being next to her in that moment meant everything to me. The doctor said I would be discharged the following day, and my girlfriend insisted on staying with me overnight even though she was Even though she was supposed to go to work the following day, that night, while I was in the hospital with her by my side, we talked about our relationship. I promised her that I would marry her after I recovered, and we discussed our future. I suggested that we go to therapy to help rebuild our relationship. As she slept on the hospital chair, I noticed the light on her phone kept turning on, as if someone was texting her. Unable to sleep, I decided to check her phone. I got up from the hospital bed and picked up her phone from the table. I knew her password, so I unlocked her phone. I saw a text message from an unknown number. I opened the message, and the guy was asking her if she was going to show up for their date. To buy more time on her phone, I limped to the bathroom so she wouldn't catch me snooping through her private messages if she woke up. I discovered that she had recently met this guy, but they hadn't done anything physical. As I looked through her messages, I found numerous numbers with no names, but long sexting conversations. It became clear to me that she had been exchanging explicit pictures with these men, and had met with at least 2 of them in the past 2 weeks. That was when I realized that even though I had been ignoring her desire for an open relationship, she had already pursued it, whether I wanted it or not. I had enough evidence to confront her, but I couldn't bring myself to break up with her, especially not in my condition. I emerged from the bathroom with a broken heart. I remember looking at her while she slept and feeling my love and care for her turn into anger and hate. I didn't say anything to her about it the following day or the morning after when I was home with her. For the first time in our relationship, I saw her for who she truly was. I was just a convenience to her. Looking back, that was when I emotionally checked out of the relationship. We continued to sleep in the same bed, but I acted like everything was normal, except I stopped all forms of physical intimacy with her. It wasn't surprising that she didn't notice, as she was already getting her fix from someone else. Not long after, about 4 months into my treatment, I became close with a nurse who worked at the hospital where I was receiving treatment. She knew I was in a relationship because my girlfriend used to come with me to the hospital, as I sometimes needed someone to drive me home. We would flirt, but it never went anywhere because we both knew we were in committed relationships, or at least I thought I was. Now that I knew my relationship with my girlfriend could be over at any time, I wanted to pursue my interest in the nurse, hoping it would lead somewhere. My girlfriend was unaware that I knew she was cheating on me with multiple men. When the nurse asked me why my girlfriend is no longer coming with me, I told her that our relationship was in trouble. I was visiting the hospital 3 times a week, and our conversations were getting more personal. I wasn't sure whether she was interested in me, or if she was just being polite, and I was just catching feelings because of what my girlfriend had done to me. What was more embarrassing was that I invited her to lunch one day, and she turned me down. It was a Friday, so I had the weekend to think through the embarrassment. When I went to my next appointment, she acted like I hadn't just invited her to a pseudo-date the week before. I tried not to invest too much in our conversations as before, and kept it professional. But I noticed that she was still asking me more about my personal life and things that had nothing to do with my health, still trying to maintain the relationship we had before. I thought it may be common for patients to fall for their nurses, so I tried not to invest too much in her. A couple of weeks later, she told me that she would take me up on my offer to lunch, which surprised me. Our lunch was very friendly, but it was hard for me not to express my romantic interest towards her. She told me that she was in a relationship, and although she liked me, she wouldn't cheat on her partner. She said that I was feeling that way because I just wanted someone, and I was basically looking for a rebound. I knew she was into me, otherwise she wouldn't have gone to lunch with me, but she wasn't willing to cheat or leave her partner for someone who didn't know what he wanted. That lit a fire under me. I couldn't continue the fake relationship with my girlfriend anymore. I went on more lunch dates with the nurse and even moved my appointments to coincide with her lunchtime so she could find an excuse to spend time with me. This continued for a few months until the cancer was completely gone and I started weaning myself off the medication in my treatment and was taking on more hours at work. One night, after giving it much thought, I came home and told my girlfriend that our relationship was over and we needed to sell the house and go our separate ways. To be honest, I thought she wouldn't care because I knew she had continuously cheated on me, and I didn't have to bring it all up, but she was surprised and shocked that I was going to break up with her, and she wasn't acting. I had to bring up the fact that she was cheating on me and we hadn't been intimate for months. When she denied ever cheating on me, I told her to show me her phone, which she refused. I told her that I had seen all the text messages, and I knew she was sleeping with other guys and having a one-sided, open relationship. She even accused me of cheating, which was why I wasn't initiating sex, and I told her that I wasn't interested in sex with her because it would repulse me, knowing that she was sleeping with other men. She accused me of throwing away 5 years of her life, and I responded that she did that herself. She blamed me for everything, and even blamed me for my cancer as well. I went to stay with my brother that night, because she was saying whatever she could to hurt me, and I was afraid I would explode and take my anger out on her, which was what she wanted. The following day, she called me telling me to come back, and I told her that we needed to get in. I need to get in touch with a real estate agent and sell the home. I hired a real estate agent, but my cheating girlfriend refuses to accept that our relationship is over. I'm not sure what to do next, because the house is in both of our names, and she is doing everything she can to keep in touch with me. I can't go no contact until we sell the home. I have already told the nurse about our breakup, and my appointments are now only once a week. However, I still text her almost every day, but I am apprehensive about it, because the last time we met, she was considering breaking up with her boyfriend. I feel guilty that she would end her happy relationship because she had nothing but good things to say about her partner. So, what do you guys think I should do? Story 3 title, The Voice on the Phone. I heard a man's voice while talking to my girlfriend on the phone. We were high school sweethearts and I took her virginity. We felt like the perfect match for each other. However, I soon left for college and she was a year younger than me. My best friend also delayed going to college due to personal issues. The college I attended was over 7 hours away from home. Before I left, we agreed not to date anyone else and to remain in a relationship. During my first semester, we kept in touch constantly through phone calls, and I thought our relationship was going strong. But one event made me believe that she was cheating on me. It was a Saturday evening and my friends were going out. I decided to sleep in because I had a headache. However, I couldn't fall asleep. It was around 11 p.m., and I knew my girlfriend would be in bed. But I called her anyway because I knew she wouldn't mind. She took a while to answer, which was understandable at the time. During our conversation, I heard a noise in the background, and I asked her if she was staying at her friend's place. She said no, but her voice was shaky like she was out of breath. It didn't occur to me what she was doing until I heard a man's voice in the background for the second time. I asked her who it was, and she said nobody. When I asked her again, the phone line went dead. I called her back several times that night, but she didn't pick up. I remember that night vividly because I couldn't go back to sleep. The next morning, she called me back and told me that her younger brother had taken her phone. I didn't believe her, but I had no evidence to prove that she was having sex with another man while I was on the phone with her. I tried to get her to admit it, but she made me feel like I was being paranoid. She made me feel like I was crazy and hallucinating, and I started to believe her because I had no evidence and was feeling sick. I forgave her and we continued our relationship. However, I struggled with trusting her because sometimes when I called her, she wouldn't answer and I would jump to conclusions. In my mind, I started seeking outside of our relationship. When I went home for the holidays, she went through my phone and saw that I was texting other females. However, there was no physical intimacy, just flirting. Looking back, I believe I did it because I still had questions about that night when I was on the phone with her. She was upset that I was talking to other girls and broke up with me. Our breakups were never too long, usually only a week or two. But she would always come back. Due to the mistrust in our relationship, I decided to live a playboy lifestyle while I was young and in college, as I may never have another chance to experience it. I even broke up with her before, trying to explain my issues and that I needed to get it out of my system. At the time, I felt weak and lacked discipline and loyalty to the one I loved. However, we later got back together, and I reassured her that the women I talked to were purely for entertainment. It's important to note that we were not roommates at the time. Around the same time, my best friend also joined me in college, and we became roommates with 2 other kids. A few months later, my girlfriend set me up by using a female friend of hers to ask if we were still together. I fell for it and sent her a text saying I wasn't sure, which ended up getting back to my girlfriend. She was furious and broke up with me. She eventually gave me another chance, but I could see the distance and the repair needed in our relationship. One day, I was out with my friend across town to attend a birthday party. After the event, I needed to use his phone to call an Uber because my phone was dying. While he was in the bathroom, I saw a notification on Instagram and intentionally opened it, pretending it was my phone. It was a direct message from my girlfriend. I saw some Instagram chats between her and my best friend, just sharing casual office memes and other small things. However, I then read a message from my best friend saying, "I can't be your distraction forever," to which my girlfriend replied, "Why?" "It's a damn good distraction." He then asked her what she wanted for herself, and she went on a tangent before ending with, "I also want to do something else, but the timing's just never right." This raised my blood pressure, and I wanted to confront my friend when he came back from the bathroom, but I controlled myself and handled my emotions. I was hoping to find a good time to look at his phone or gather more evidence, as I knew they would deny it. The Uber ride home was tense. The next day, I gathered my thoughts and confronted my girlfriend with the messages, making it seem like my best friend had told me everything. I asked her if there was anything she wanted to get off her chest, and she replied with, "What did he say?" Getting louder and more frantic with each passing moment, she kept repeating herself. I held my ground and calmly asked, "Do you have something to say?" She continued to repeat, "What did he say?" I maintained my composure and repeated myself, but then her mood suddenly shifted. She stopped yelling, looked at me with a chuckle and a smile, and said, "That hurts, doesn't it?" It was then that I discovered my best friend had filled her head with lies about me cheating on her. She was seeking revenge against me. Each time she accused me, the pain only dug deeper. "I didn't ask if you did it, I just wanted to know the extent of their relationship." She then revealed that my best friend had been my biggest opponent for years. He would tell her if I was cheating, and would often speak negatively about me. I confronted her about lying about her brother snatching her phone, and she finally came clean. She admitted to having a sexual relationship with my best friend behind my back for over a year. She claimed that my best friend had told her I was cheating on her in college and that she wanted to hurt me, so she slept with him. She thought it would be a one-time thing, but it continued. I asked her why she didn't just break up with me. She said she loved me and wanted to be with me. I told her I never cheated on her and that my friend had lied to her. But it didn't matter because we were through. I went back and confronted him about sleeping with my girlfriend behind my back. I did it in front of my other roommates, and they too saw his lying face. I told him we were no longer friends and that he could carry on with her. My roommates were supportive and asked my former best friend to find another place to live next semester because they no longer wanted him there. Since he had signed a lease, we had a few more months before it was over. He tried to avoid me in the apartment, but I still ran into him occasionally. My ex-girlfriend called me several times until I blocked her. She even tried to send messages through her friend, but I blocked her friend as well. We had broken up and gotten back together before, but this time was different. My 2 most trusted people had betrayed me, and that's something I will never forgive.